The Community Impact Unit is hoping a grant will help expand their program on Main Street, Hyannis. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Mary Schakowsky announces she will be leaving after this school year. Plus, we have tips on how to save on your electric bill, even with all those holiday decorations. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, December 22nd, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle. The Barnstable Police Department's Community Impact Unit is applying for a grant in an effort to expand their program on Main Street. Town Manager Tom Lynch says the grant would pay for mental health training for the group.
And they've been, working all through the summer, and they've gotten to know the homeless population, other needs that are on the street of individuals that they may encounter on a daily basis. Officer Jen Ellis, who works in the team, came in because she is applying through the Department of Mental Health for an innovative jail diversion program grant. And there are really three components to that. The first is that they're trying to get individuals into services. So rather than get them in a situation where there's a crime been committed and they need to be incarcerated, divert them before that happens into needed services. There are two other parts of the grant that are important, though, and one is there's some intervention, crisis intervention team training. So they'd have 6 officers that would be trained in how to diffuse a situation where someone is perhaps resisting arrest or is going to be in a situation where they could get arrested for their behaviors, try to calm that situation down based on the behaviors that they're being confronted with.
And if the department secures the grant, it would also help pay for a clinician that would join the Community Impact Unit. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Mary Schakowsky accepts a new position in Lexington, Massachusetts. Schakowsky says she accepted the position Friday afternoon.
It is bittersweet for me, and obviously it's been a long process. But I think for me, it's a new opportunity, a new challenge. But I have 6 months remaining here to continue the work that I'm doing. I know the school committee is going to be meeting tonight to have a discussion about next steps with respect to posting the position and whether or not they're going to do a search and whether they're not going to have an interim. That'll be a decision of the school committee this evening. But, obviously, I'm going to miss most of all, I think, the relationships and the people that I've worked with here in Barnstable for the last, it'll be 4 years when I do leave. But I think, I always feel that for a superintendent, the success is, the sustainability and are you leaving better than where you began? And I think, when I think about the last 3.5 years, the accomplishments with respect to the construction of the new Early Learning Center, the removal of the portables, that was been a work in progress for the last 2 years. Certainly, something that I think moving forward with respect to whoever is in the next position here will carry some of that work forward.
Schakowsky says she wasn't looking for a new job, but that she was heavily recruited for that position.
It was not something I didn't apply for any other position. It wasn't that I was unhappy here. I was recruited. I was recruited by a national search firm who thought that I had talents that would be good for Lexington. So you're right. It is bittersweet, but I've still got work to do here in the next 6 months, and I look forward to the transition.
And Schakowsky will remain a superintendent in Barnstable through the end of the current school year. Changes are on the way at the Barnstable Transfer Station. Energy Coordinator Richard Elrick says some of the changes will make recycling even easier for residents.
Thankfully, they're fairly good changes for the residents who use the transfer station. Really, there are two key changes that we want to keep emphasizing. Beginning January 2nd, we're now going to a single stream recycling program, which is really going to make recycling more convenient for folks. Instead of having to separate their cans and their bottles and their plastics and paper, they'll be able to combine all of that together in one recycling bin, except for the corrugated cardboard. We still want folks to keep out the cardboard because there's value to the town for that, much more so than the other recyclables. But combine all your recyclables. It should make the process of working your way through the transfer station much more efficient. Again, you'll just have to empty one box or one container instead of 4 or 5. So that's going to make it a lot easier. And the other important thing that we want to mention is that we're now going to be requiring for anyone who wants to use the transfer station that they obtain a sticker, even if they're only doing it for recycling. There's no cost, and I want to make that point very clear, that if you're only using a transfer station to recycle, you don't have to pay for a sticker, but you will be required to have a sticker affixed to your card, just like you would if you were purchasing a transfer, a solid waste trash sticker. It'd be the same sort of thing. But it is free, and we're doing this to get a better handle on how many people we have just recycling. We did have concerns that a lot of non-residents were using the facility for recycling, and while recycling is not nearly as expensive as getting our solid waste disposed of, there's still operational costs to the program, and we just didn't think it was reasonable to ask our Barnstable residents to be subsidizing non-residents in the recycling costs.
The new program begins January 2nd. There will be a short grace period for anyone that needs to get a recycling-only sticker. You can keep that electric bill low even during the holiday season. Energy Coordinator Richard Elrick has tips on how to combat the extra electrical use from holiday lights and displays.
Everybody by now should be switching to LED lights for the Christmas lights and for all of the lights. They use about 90% less electricity, and so they're really the way to go. Some other things here that are kind of interesting. A lot of folks now are beginning to use fiber optic decorations, which is really cool, because you've got essentially typically one bulb and then the light emanates out from that. So that's a change you can make. Obviously, you want to limit the time the lights are on. They don't have to be on all the time.
That's right.
And if you're, say your Christmas tree is in your living room, you might turn off your typical lights and just have your Christmas tree lights. That's a way to save.
Elrick also recommends unplugging any unused electrical items when leaving the home to cut down on that electric bill. Cape Cod Community College will be closed until January 2nd. Communications Director Michael Gross says during the closure, they will be working to update the college's water system.
The college was built in 1970-71, and at that time, our water system, and that's our potable water, fresh water system on campus, was put in. Anyone that's been to campus up on the end of our first parking lot, there's been this sort of not too fancy, good old brick building sitting there, and inside was a massive pump. And that massive pump, over the last 40 years, really hasn't been updated too much, and our system pretty much has failed. We, as of now, have shut off the fresh water to the campus and are in the midst of an entire project to lay new water lines, put a new pump in, completely rebuild everything we have so that we can get back up and open, we hope, January the 2nd. And this is the very first time I think I'll ever say, don't come to campus, we're not open. And that means, in fact, the library, literally no one is on our campus other than security and working personnel. It's something that just had to be done, and if it was going to be done, this was about the best time to do it.
Again, Cape Cod Community College will be closed from now until January 1st and will reopen January 2nd. The Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee meets tonight at 7 in the Growth Management Conference Room. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program Barnstable this morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk to Police Chief Paul McDonald. He'll have details for us about last Friday's drug arrest at the Shanghai restaurant in Hyannis. We'll also chat with the chair of the Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.